And welcome to AFSPA Live, our monthly digital broadcast designed to give AFSPA members and eligible federal employees a place to ask questions and get answers about past AFSPA Talks topics, their benefits, and wellness needs. You can ask your question through the chat box on whichever social media platform you're streaming AFSPA Live, YouTube, Facebook, or LinkedIn. If you're not able to join us live, call our toll-free line prior to the broadcast at 888-435-0757 and leave our team a voice message that we may play back and answer live on air. Just tell us who you are and the question you'd like us to answer. I'll see you at the next AFSPA Live.
Good morning. Welcome to AFSPA Live, a live video broadcast Q&A session that we hold every last Thursday of the month at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. My name is Maddie Norton, and I'm a Senior Communication Coordinator at AFSPA, and I'll be moderating the show today. Today we are discussing all about AFSPA, so everything AFSPA related. And with me as always is Kyle Longton. How are you today, Kyle?
Hey, Maddie. I'm a little tired. I took a red eye so that I could be here with our members today. But I've got a little lag. That's not the fatigue. It's my connection. But excited to answer some questions. Continue our theme for the month.
We are excited to have you here. Thank you for making the red eye flight. And we'll start off with some member submitted questions. So first one will be from Gerald, and they asked, are foreign spouses eligible for FSBP? And what does the timeline look like for adding them to their insurance plan?
Yeah, that's a great question. Foreign spouses are eligible for coverage under an enrollee, and it's based on your family member relationship. So as long as they're married, they can be covered by FSBP. And then you typically have a window for any qualifying life event, and it varies from event to event. But when it comes to something like marriage, it's typically 31 days prior to the event, the wedding, and up to 60 days after the event.
Gotcha. Good to know. And I believe we have a form that you wanted us to link to.
Yes, thank you. So I when people reach out to me individually, I always point them to the SF 2809, which you can scan the QR code there, and it takes you to the PDF that's from OPM. There's a great chart on that form that tells you all the qualifying life events for current employees. There's another chart that tells you all the qualifying life events for annuitants. And then there's another one for others, like survivor annuitants and former spouses. So take a look at that. It gives you the event, a description of it, what you can do. For instance, change plans or just enroll in the program, or go from self-only to family, and the time period in which to do that.
Perfect. So lays it all out there for you. So hopefully if you have any questions, you can just go to that form. And if you have more questions, then contact us. All right. Next question from Larry. Why is there an age limit on coverage for PSA test?
Yeah, so PSA tests are covered. This is a prostate test, and PSA tests are covered per the U.S. Preventative Services Task Force. And the U.S. Preventative Task Force changed their recommendations for PSA preventive testing back in 2020, I believe it was. And basically they put a top age limit on preventive testing of age 69. And so between the ages of, I believe it's 45 and 69, you can get a PSA test at preventive exam at no cost. The plan will cover that at 100%. After that age, it is considered that it may lifetime at age 70 or older is going to be a true risk to one's longevity. And so you can test. Typically, if you go to Quest or Lab, we have 100% benefit with both Quest and LabCorp, so those should. But otherwise, the plan would typically cover it at 90% as a diagnostic test, not necessarily preventative. So you have a small out-of-pocket if your doctor does that test for you. So absolutely talk with your doctor with anything. That the watchword now coming out of HS and the CDC is shared decision making. So have that shared decision making. The plan can cover it, even if it's not considered a preventative.
Gotcha. All right. Good to know. We did get a question from a member on YouTube. They asked, since the new flu, COVID, and Lyme disease vaccines are being held up, will they be covered, and what do we have to do to have them covered?
This is a good question, and just not a scientist, doctor, but what I can tell you is that our coverage of any vaccine is based on recommendations from AFSPA, and that is the committee that recommends immunizations within the CDC. And our language within our brochure, or our official coverage language, is rather broad on that point, that basically just says we'll cover those that are recommended based on age and stage of life per AFSPA. And so as we will review them and can issue some updates once we have that guidance clear from AFSPA and CDC about the coverage. We do cover, I can confirm, we do cover flu vaccines. We do cover COVID vaccines at 100%. I don't have the latest on the Lyme vaccine and where that's going, so I want to comment on that, but I can tell you that we do cover flu, COVID, and for 2026, we also offer incentives for members of $25 for members age 18 and older, $25 for the flu, $25 for the COVID booster, that you can earn towards your $400 annual limit on our incentive program.
Yes. Definitely take advantage of that program and make sure that you're getting all of your rewards just for taking care of yourself. All right. We got a question from Hugh, and he asked, my medicine increased from $60 to $300 this year. Who sets the drug prices?
Okay. And I see that also came with a red droopy eyes face, I think is what I'm reading at the end there. So I appreciate that. I understand that was a big change for people. And I also understand it caught a lot of people by surprise. We did a lot of outreach during open season. We didn't catch everybody. And this was the first time in a decade that we've made any change to the prescription drug cost share. So here's what I can tell you. The drug prices are set by pharma, by the manufacturers. There are negotiations that take place between the manufacturers and pharmacy benefit managers. In the case of Foreign Service Benefit Plan, we work with Express Scripts. So they negotiate the prices. And that's why we have different tiers between preferred and non-preferred. Some manufacturers are willing to negotiate lower price, others aren't, but all those drugs may be available based on our formulary. And so the price is set through market forces, essentially. But when it comes to who sets the benefits, that's us. AFSPA sets the benefits for the Foreign Service Benefit Plan. We consult with our partners across the board at Aetna and Express Scripts when we're doing this, but we are the carrier for the plan. In fact, we're the underwriter. We're a self-insured plan. So we make that decision. It does have any changes to benefits are approved by the Office of Personnel Management, which oversees the entire federal employee health benefits program. But the change in the prescription benefits was a decision made in the last instance by me and then approved by OPM. So this was the first time we'd made a change in a decade. My hope was that, and continues to be, that this change will be in place. These prices will be in place for a while. Can't guarantee that, but that was the goal. I didn't want to nickel and dime members that we were making a change every year. Here's $10 and $10 and $10. but I also understand that this comes with its own shock. So that for brand name drugs, if the price of the drug is high enough, you may hit that 35% maximum and be responsible for $300 for the 90-day supply, whereas before you were paying $60. So I understand that. I would encourage you to take advantage of the wellness program, like we said before, that can help cover some of those out-of-pocket costs. I would also encourage you, and for the past this, I don't know your name. I'm sorry, I don't know your age, but for those who are eligible, please take a look at our PDP program, our Medicare Prescription Drug Program. We did not change the cost shares on that program. So a 90-day supply of a prescription drug brand name is still $60. So I see the comment that came in. I understand this was a increase of 500%, going from $60 to $300 for the 3-month supply, not the annual. I understand that. AFSPA changed the benefit. We did announce this. I understand that in some cases there are no generics for the drugs. We did also do a review of what's happening elsewhere in the FEHB program, and felt that this was a competitive place to come, and again, to hopefully help keep things where they are. I appreciate the feedback. You are not the first person who's raised this question, who've raised this issue. We are continuing to review benefits as we're looking 2027. I can tell you right now, we're not proposing any changes to the prescription drug benefits. We'll be keeping these cost shares for both the high option, which is what most people are enrolled in, and the PDP for those who are eligible for the Medicare Part D program that we offer.
All right. Another question about changes made this year. Why did the out-of-pocket maximum increase this year?
Yeah. So the out-of-pocket, here's another benefit that we had not changed in a decade. So with the advent of the Affordable Care Act and a few other things, there were some pieces that came into place in terms of setting catastrophic out-of-pocket maximum, and some of these pieces had always been there with the FEHB program. So we out-of-pocket maximum to the same level for a number of years. And I tell you that I went back and looked, and for the last 5 years, we have seen 4 of the last 5 years, we've seen that our spend on medical claims and pharmacy claims combined has approached, or in several exceeded 100% of the amount of premiums that we've taken in. And some of this is due to the amount of member growth that we've seen, some of it unexpected. I think we've shared in our newsletter and on this broadcast before, we were not expecting a 11% and more growth during this most recent open season. And so our rate changes and some of our benefit changes this year and in past years were not based on that sort of growth. And some of the growth that we've seen has also been resulted in higher cost claims. Our drugs was very attractive for members who are taking certain high cost drugs that other plans in the FEHB are charging more for. For instance, GLP-1s have sort of been the headline drug in recent years. And when other plans stop covering certain GLP-1s and or change the cost share, we were still offering those drugs at a lower cost share. So we saw actually our the number of members using GLP-1s both for diabetes and weight loss increase by 169% from the beginning of 2024 through the end of 2025. So that and a number of other drug is in our changing those benefits, but we also at sort of the overall benefit landscape within the FEHB program and made the DC out-of-pocket maximum. For 2026, it was essentially a $1,000 increase in every category for self-only, family, in-network, and out-of-network. So it's just to raise that to keep up a little bit with what we're seeing in terms of the cost of medicine and medical care increasing.
All right. And if you submitted a question, we try to answer those first. So if you haven't seen your question yet, it's coming. But we will go ahead and move to one about drug prices again. Express Scripts recently told my spouse that they would not honor manufacturer discount cards for prescriptions they supply through their mail order program, leaving him with a $300 copay for one prescription. Would you please amend the contract between Express Scripts and FSBP to require honoring programs created to make the cost of prescription drugs more reasonable?
This was a timely question. I happened to be at a conference with Express. You got me, Maddie?
Yes.
I was getting an error message on my side.
You're good.
Sorry about that. Okay, let me start again. So through the mail order, the system, I appreciate the suggestion to amend the contract. It's not a contract piece. Many mail order pharmacies just are not set up to do what is essentially coordination of benefits. When you have a coupon, it is typically processed as sort of a primary payer, and then your insurance money comes off of that, and your insurance comes in and would pay secondary. And the home delivery pharmacies typically are not set up for that, and that is the case with Express Scripts. Now, you may be able to use the coupons in a retail setting. We do offer non-specialty drugs. You can obtain those in the retail setting at a Smart 90, usually a CVS or Walgreens, and may be able to take a advantage of the manufacturer coupons in that place. I will say though that those are coupons offered by the manufacturer. They are not part of the benefits that we offer, and we and Express Scripts are not able to take responsibility for a coupon not working. That is the manufacturer, and it's not work in every setting. And typically, those coupons also have a maximum, and sometimes people max out the total value of the coupon over several months or even a year.
Gotcha. All right. And speaking of coordination of benefits, how do the pieces of FSBP fit together, as in FSBP, Aetna, Express Scripts? I would like to know who makes decisions about my healthcare among the three.
Yeah. So this is a great question. We get this question a lot. As I mentioned before, AFSPA, the American Foreign Service Protective Association, is the carrier and the underwriter. We're self-insured for the Foreign Service Benefit Plan. We partner with Aetna to serve as the administrator. And what that means for our plan is that we utilize Aetna's nationwide network, one of the largest networks in the United States, for providers. Also, half of Foreign Service Plan processes the claims, and we rely on their clinical expertise when reviewing for clinical policy, medical necessity, and so forth. They also provide some care management services for members who request that. Express Scripts is the pharmacy benefit manager, which means they implement and apply the benefits that are set by the Foreign Service Benefit Plan, by AFSPA, when it comes to Express Scripts. We do utilize their National Preferred Formulary, which is the list of drugs that are covered, and whether they're preferred, non-preferred, and it provides some expertise. We utilize their services for home delivery, as well as for specialty pharmacies, and their network. But the benefits set by AFSPA, and then we work with our partners to ensure that they're implemented per the guidelines that we set with approval from the Office of Personnel Management.
Gotcha. All right. Good refresher for anyone. We got a follow-up, it looks like, from Karen about the Express Scripts question. I heard the answer that Express Scripts can't handle manufacturer discounts because they aren't set up that way, but don't you think with pressure from the customers they could/would change?
Karen, I appreciate the suggestion, and I'll talk to them about this possibility. I am not willing, as the carrier for the plan, to take on the responsibility of every single manufacturer coupon working, and that's what we run into, is that all these coupons work a little bit differently. And in the retail setting, they're working with a different processing system that can handle coordination of benefits. But for instance, if somebody has FSBP and TRICARE, typically the home delivery also is not going to be able to process the coordination of benefits for prescription coverage through both of those plans. It can be done sometimes in a retail setting, not always. Some of it may require additional paperwork in the background. So I understand what you're saying. I will continue to talk to them about this. I'm not in a position to make any guarantees about this. I'll also, as we go through review processes, check with other pharmacy benefit managers on their ability on this. But I know that this is often a point of friction at the individual claim level. I've been behind people at my local pharmacy who are having problems with the coupon, because sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, sometimes they reach the maximum and there's no way to track that, and sometimes the manufacturers simply stop supporting the coupons after a certain amount of time. So appreciate that, willing to continue that, but not in a position to guarantee anything in that area.
Right. We're going to move on to a question about our wellness incentive program. Got a couple of questions about that. How does the program work? Where do the rewards go? And then can my dependents also use the program?
Yeah. So we've had a wellness incentive program. We're actually looking at some redesign of it for 2027. Can't share the details until we get the approval from OPM, which will. But there are a lot of different ways. But essentially, member age 18 and older, so that's enrollees, spouses, and children covered on your plan who are age 18 and older, can all earn up to $400 per year in incentives by doing things like completing a health risk assessment, getting your annual preventive exam, completing a biometric screening, age and state appropriate cancer screenings, the flu shot, COVID booster, and coaching chronic care programs for diabetes and high blood pressure and the like, and even our healthy pregnancy program, again, as that applies. So there's a lot of different ways to earn this. Each person can earn up to $400 per year. Money goes into an incentive account. It's not instantaneous. And I know some people get into some issues with this where they submit the documentation, they say, where's the money, right? And a lot of the money is credited based on claims. So there's not anything for you to do. So you go to your doctor, and that is physical, and we should be giving you the credit for that in the incentive account automatically. Nothing required on your part. If you are at your employer's office, let's say you're a dependent spouse, and they come and do a flu shot clinic, you get a certificate that says, hey, I got my flu shot on this date, you can send it to us, we'll give the $25. But it can take 4 to 6 weeks for that to get credited to the incentive account. The awards can be tracked through the Aetna Secure member website. And we do a lot of the payout from that account automatically as well. So if you go to the doctor and you have an out-of-pocket expense, so let's say you go to the doctor, I'm going to use round numbers for myself, in-network provider, the cost of it was $100, so you're responsible for $10. If there's $10 in that account, we will pay that out directly to the provider on your behalf so that you never have an out-of-pocket expense that's covered. If you're overseas, you've paid 100% of the cost. We'll reimburse you for the claim cost out of the benefits, and then whatever your out-of-pocket piece was separately out of your incentive account. If you're, let's say, somebody who's got Medicare A and B, and so you don't have a lot of out-of-pocket medical costs, or anybody out there, guess what? You can use it for over-the-counter costs in certain instances, as well as dental and vision. So there's a form on our website under the forms and brochures library. Fill out the top part of the form, attach your receipt, and we can reimburse you for anything that would be essentially flexible spending account eligible, FSA eligible. So dental, vision, and this is first aid, certain things that looks. So you can use that, and if you've got money in your incentive account and you end up for the
I think we lost Kyle for a minute. Okay, are you back, Kyle? I can see you moving.
And I'm sorry about that.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you.
And
I should also mention that the whatever is left in that account at the end of the year rolls over without any limit to the next year, as long as you remain enrolled in service benefit plan.
Nice. All right. To follow up that question, another member asked about how can I check to see if all the rewards I submitted for 2025 have been applied to my family's account?
Yeah, it's through the Aetna Secure Member website. You can log in there, and there's instructions in our brochure, as well as on our wellness incentive page, on exactly how to go through that and check that account. And it should tell you exactly how much was deposited for each incentive program.
Perfect. And next question we will ask is a common question that we get. If I cannot wait in the queue to talk to a health benefit officer, what is the next best way to contact someone at AFSPA?
It's a great question. There's two things I would recommend. One, you should be presented with the option a callback number and a voicemail, and someone will get back with you. Not necessarily in the same place in the queue, but within the same business day, typically. Or you can send an email, and there is a secure form on our website, AFSPA.org. SBP411, I believe, is the best way to do that. You can submit the question there, and that typically will get back to you within about a timeline for the email return is coming down, because we have added more than a dozen new staff members team, both to phones, our direct billing communications team. So those wait times in the queue down, you leave us a voicemail, as well as the response time for emails.
Yes. And if you are not aware, our phone hours have changed. So we are now 7 a.m. Eastern time to 7 p.m. Eastern time. So if you did not know that, this is a PSA for you. And please take advantage of those extra hours, especially. All right. Next question. Is it possible to be eligible for AFSPA membership, but not for the Foreign Service Benefit Plan?
It is. And the group that would fit into this would be mostly retirees who are not retired under a foreign service retirement system. So retirees who worked at State Department, Department of Defense, Homeland Security, they are eligible for AFSPA. They can get our free information, log into events like this, get our newsletter. They can sign up for our insurance programs, dental, life insurance, and as a little preview of tomorrow, our new disability program, if they're still employed for some reason, although I don't know that a retiree would be still employed. Maybe they're employed outside the federal government now.
Maybe so.
But yeah, they can sign up for those. But those are the ways that you'd be eligible for AFSPA membership, but not for service benefit plan.
All right. We'll do some quick questions before we wrap up. What is the average time for a claim to be processed?
Yeah, so stateside claims usually take about 21 days, and overseas claims are averaging about 21 days. And We did a fantastic podcast with Kelly Rath, who's a senior manager at Aetna. I encourage everybody to go listen to that. That came out, Maddie, this Monday?
Yes, this Monday.
Yep. So go listen to that. She walks through the whole process. They have also been bringing on more staff. These are any claim that can't be what we call auto adjudicated, which means it runs through the system without human touch, does have to be touched by a human. And even those stateside claims, those overseas claims that come in English, they all take time to process. And it also takes time for new claims processors to build up the expertise on that. So we are averaging about 21 days for both stateside and overseas claims, but we are working to bring that processing time down.
Yes. All right. And then one last question. How do I update my contact information?
Oh, that's a great question. There's two ways. The fastest way is to log into the AFSPA member portal. And there's only the member portal account belongs to the enrollee. So there's one account per family if you're a foreign service benefit plan member, and that account belongs to the enrollee. So you go in there and update your contact information that way. That's the easiest way to do it. Alternatively, you can call and ask for our Enrollment and Eligibility Services team, EES, and they can take your information over the phone. Please be prepared to confirm your date of birth and what address we should have on record at that time so we can verify your identity before updates.
Yes. All right. That has been All About AFSPA. If you've missed some of our podcasts from this month, Kyle just mentioned we did an AFSPA Talks claims. Definitely go listen to that. And then we also did an AFSPA Talks, the Foreign Service Benefit Plan, with one of our wonderful coworkers, Igor. And he talks a lot about the common questions that we get about Foreign Service Benefit Plan and how all of the departments kind of work together to make sure that our members are happy and also healthy. So go and listen to that if you want a little insider look. Our next AFSPA Live will be on May 28th at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And in the meantime, we have a bunch of Prudential webinars that you can attend all about financial health and financial wellness. And May is National Women's Health Month. And our topic's going to be May is for Maternity May. So if you have questions about maternity or are wanting to learn about fertility, infertility, pregnancy, be on the lookout for our podcast topics. And I'll obviously attend our AFSPA Live. So be on the lookout for everything from us on our socials. Stay up to date on our podcast. And we are glad that you joined us today. And we'll see you next time.
Yeah. Thanks for your patience with my connection. We'll work on it for next month too.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching our broadcast. Join us again the last Thursday of every month at 11 a.m. Eastern. Also, don't forget to look for AFSPA Cares on all of our social media channels.